During his 50 years in Washington, Congressman Claude Pepper has known and worked with most of America's 20th century leaders. He served first as a U.S. Senator from Florida, and now he sits in the U.S. House of Representatives. But Pepper began his political career not in Washington, but in Tallahassee. He was elected to the Florida House of Representatives in 1928, and he served during the 1929 session as the representative from Taylor County.
So it was a very exciting period in my life. First time I'd been a member of any legislative body, and I was eager to make some name for myself, eager to make some contribution to the state, to do something for my county, which I was representing, Taylor County. And so I worked hard at it. I got through a bill exempting the elderly from paying any license to fish with hook and line, rod and reel. And therefore, at an early date, exhibited my concern for the health and happiness of the elderly, and was very proud to be able to get my bill through the legislature.
Even in his first political office, Pepper became known as one of the legislature's finest orators.
The girls in some of the committee rooms, like the enrolling room and the various rooms where bills were taken care of by staff, I know they sent word up to me a number of times. When I was going to speak, they wanted me to let them know they wanted to come up to the floor of the House and to hear me speak, so evidently I'd developed some little reputation for speaking.
Just one term, though. The good people of Taylor County didn't send you back after that first
Well,
term.
they didn't realize what friends they were being of mine at the time. I've often said that the real guide to my life has been providence of the Lord, or whatever be the spiritual forces that guide the destinies of men. If I had done what I wanted to do so many times, it would have turned out so adversely for me that it would have been very detrimental. In that case, there were two things that were responsible for my defeat. One of them was that a civil rights resolution came up on the floor. A demagogue, as I called him, from St. Petersburg, who'd come down to Florida from Georgia, introduced a resolution condemning Mrs. Hoover, whose husband was president, from inviting a black woman, the wife of a black congressman from Chicago, from Illinois, to a White House lawn tea. Mr. DePriest, her husband, was the only black man in the House of Representatives at that time, and Mrs. Hoover, of course, just sent Mrs. DePriest an invitation like every other wife of a House member, and invited her to come to this lawn tea. Well, this fella was trying to take advantage of that, and he raised all the stops about desegregation, breaking down the barriers between the whites and the blacks and all that, and taking away the distinctions that had protected the white women of the South and all that. So he denounced Mrs. Hoover very thoroughly and very viciously, and wanted the legislature to condemn Mrs. Hoover for including that black woman. Well, I knew instinctively, I remember that was in '29, I knew instinctively that that was a very critical resolution politically. And for the first time, I put an explanation of my vote in the journal, which one was permitted to do, and I said, I am a Southerner and a Democrat, like my ancestors before me, but I consider this resolution out of place as an act of this body. Signed, Claude Pepper. I knew I better say something to try to indicate that I wasn't a black Republican or whatever they would call anybody who would vote for fair civil rights for a black person. Well, later, so that had a lot to do with my defeat in Taylor County.
The other thing that led to his defeat, Pepper said, was the country notion that political offices ought to be shared. So the voters gave somebody else a shot at the job in 1930. In retrospect, Pepper says he's glad things happened as they did.
They were the best thing that ever happened to me, what turned out to be the event. Because my plan was, my own little plan, was to run for the Speaker if I were reelected next time. And if I got elected Speaker, the next time I was going to run for the State Senate. And then I might run for President of the State Senate. Then I was going to run for Attorney General.
Instead, Pepper's loss led him eventually to Washington, where he has played a national role since 1936. And at age 84, he is still fighting many of the same battles that he first entered back in 1929 in the Florida Legislature.